Flavor Talk Cafe. I'm your host, Erica, and I do have a lovely lady here today. But first, I want to start with a quote from Toni Morrison. If there is a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, you must be the one to write it. And this young woman, well, older woman, sorry, she definitely is writing her own book. Please, lovebirds, give it up for Angie Butterscotch.
Hi. How you doing, Erica?
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm so honored that you have me here today. Oh boy, what do you want me to get?
So let's get talking.
Okay.
Let's talk about your career. You started, well, you're from my alumni. Shout out to Old Westbury.
That's right, Old Westbury. I graduated in 1986. So that should tell you guys how old I am. I'm up there.
So you started your career in Old Westbury, like I did.
Yes.
And you worked for the New York City. So tell the world about what
You want me to look in the camera?
You don't have to look in the camera. You can just talk.
Okay. Well, to make a long story short, Erica, I grew up in the Hamptons. You know, that's where I grew up since I was born. I graduated from West Hampton Beach High School. And from West Hampton Beach High School, I went to North Carolina to St. Augustine in Raleigh College. And how that happened was that my parents, because where they came from, the South, they wanted us to learn something about our culture, or who we are. Because we didn't get that in that. We didn't get much of that when we was in school, growing up back then in those times. And when I was like, my mother really wanted me to go to Spelman. And I was pitching a fit because I was like, I'm not going to Spelman because it was an all-girls school because I was a tomboy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, Mom, she said, well, you need to learn how to be a young lady. I said, Mom, I don't want to go to all-girls school. But she didn't tell me Morehouse was across the street. She left that part out.
Yeah.
So my parents, you know, I said, I'm not going to college. I'm going to the service. My father said over his dead body, he said, I work very hard. All my children are going to go to college. Whatever they decide to do with it, I didn't build this business for y'all not to do nothing.
Wow.
And that was planted in us. So when I ended up going to St. Augustine in Raleigh, which was an all-black college, my first freshman year of college. I did my year there. I had a ball, called myself falling in love. And I said, it's time for me to get out of here because things didn't work out. But anyway, make a long story short, my mother was a Delta. I didn't want to be a Delta.
My mom is an AKA and my dad is a Q.
Oh, your dad's a Q-Dog? I love the Q-Dog.
Oh my goodness. Every time I tell somebody my dad's a Q.
I like to say
It's
that
like,
too, man.
they go crazy.
But to make a long story short is that, you know, it was a good experience for me. Because with that, you know, when I came back to New York, I finished out at Old Westbury. You know, I finished out at Old Westbury. But when I came back, I had a sense of direction. I had a sense of direction. So, because I was always active and talking, I didn't have no problem talking and speaking my mind, I got involved with student government while I was in college, you know. I was like one of those advocates, you know, they had, you know, groups that we went around and we said, yes, we need these, our rights and stuff like that. You know, bring awareness, always bringing awareness, you know, so good information. Because at the time when I was in Old Westbury, they had this bad seed of heroin on the street back in the 80s.
Really? At Old Westbury?
Yeah, no, not in Old Westbury, but two
okay.
people died on campus.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, when I was in Old Westbury.
Okay.
But people was dropping like flies all over New York. Somebody put some bad seed of heroin called Tango and Cash.
Wow.
out on the street was poison. And people was driving like crazy all through the city, campuses and stuff. And 2 people I knew passed away on campus. You know. So that was one trauma that I experienced when I was at Old Westbury. And then my major was finance, because I like numbers. I when I was in high school, I was good in bookkeeping and stuff. I took accounting and stuff like that. But I always took stenography. I won an award for stenography.
What is stenography that some people
Well,
don't know?
stenography is court reporting.
Okay.
But the machines they have now is not what they had back then. They like to stand up and you see the court reporter like this, in shorthand. You know, that's what stenography is. So anyway, oh my God. So anyway,
Are you okay?
yeah, I'm okay. So anyway,
We don't want you to feel uncomfortable at the calf.
no, I'm fine at the calf. Beautiful calf.
Thank you.
But to bring you back to speed, so from that point on, my major, I always liked to play with numbers. That was my thing. And while I was in college, you know, they used to have a lot of work temp agencies. You know, like Workforce, Personal Office.
Yeah.
These are temp agencies. So a lot of kids that went to school with me at Old Westbury, they used to go to temp agencies to do part-time job. So when I got in my junior year, I went to a temp agency and I landed Chemical Bank because I work with numbers. I was a finance major. So I'm working at Chemical Bank and they gave me the Rockefeller account. They liked how I moved and how I handled the Rockefeller account was mine. Reconcile, write out, get them checks out to that big, large family, Rockefeller family. I mean, it was huge, every month. And that was my part-time job I was doing while I was in college. So when I graduated from college, I got an offer to work for which bank? I hate to say, I used to work for Chase. I worked for Chase Manhattan. I came in Chase Manhattan already as a supervisor. I never, any job that I had, I never started entry level.
Okay.
You know, so I was in the banking field. I did real estate banking. I managed quite a few people. I reconciled accounts. You know, I worked for Dime Savings Bank. Then I went to a mortgage company. My father wanted me to get into real estate. So I worked for a mortgage company. I mean, what's that guy they used to call refrigerator? Football player.
George Foreman?
No, no, it was football.
Oh, he's a boxer, right? Sorry.
That's right, football. They call him refrigerator. Maybe he know who he is. He's back there. They call him refrigerator and he was so huge. But he played football. I forgot what team. But he came to mortgage company and the vice president was like, oh, I think he likes you. Why don't you go out with him? I said, no, I'm not going out with him.
Wow.
But you know, to show you how people want to use other people to get what they want, you know, like that.
Yeah.
But to make it bring you up to speed, I know this, I told you my stories are so long. But,
Yeah.
so if you want me to speed it up, I'll speed it up.
I mean, we here love stories at the cast, so
Okay.
I mean, if you want to take your time, but I just want to know, like, okay, you
So
started-
I'm going to put you to the field. I got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
One of my daughters is a graduate. She graduated, she's going to be 25 this year. She lives on her own. She has a beautiful job. She lives in Brooklyn. I'm very proud of her. Then I have a baby who I had at 40, who just turned 16.
Uh-oh.
I have 2 daughters. So what happened was I went back to school to get my credentials in counseling because I wanted to really work with youth. After I left the city for 13 years, I had went into private business of my own. I left New York and moved to Jersey.
How was working in Jersey? I know, I live in Jersey. I miss New York.
Well, let me tell you. I can't say everything bad about New Jersey, but you know, my father was very reluctant in me taking my money and my funds and starting to build a business and get my own house. At that time, my daughter who's 25, she was a baby at the time. And I was like, you know, because I was forced to move back home because it was too much for me. I wasn't with a father anymore, so of course it was too much for me, and I was working for the city, so I was commuting from West Hampton Beach on the Long Island Railroad every day to go to work, because I worked in the city. I worked in Jamaica Queen's office, and I worked in Manhattan.
Okay.
So the kind of work I did was case management. But it was hard. It was a hard thing, you know, and I was young at the time. You know, and I was always the type of person that I like to make my own. I always tell my kids the same thing. You know, it's nothing like being independent and having your own. Telling you, because when you have to depend on other people, you're gonna watch it. You're gonna do a lot of ass kissing.
It's all right. We can curse here. We let you be comfortable here.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling you because that's what it is, and I mean that's in anything really.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way of life. People see you when they see you shining, they want to be with you. When they see there's work, they see they want to help you or they don't. They just want to reap the benefits, but they don't want to put no effort in it. They want to shine with you, but they don't do nothing to help you or support you.
Sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off, but let's get to the tea.
All right.
I know a lot.
Get to the tea.
A lot of college kids. They're like, oh, how do I get into this business?
Yes.
Is it easy? Do I have to sleep my way to the top? Because I go to different people.
That's a solid question, Erica, because you know I've been around a lot of entertainers in my past. I've seen a lot of stuff too.
I know.
You know, I can't pour no tea about the people that I've seen because, you know, some of them they're still shining on your TV and in the videos and stuff. So I'm going to leave that alone. Because I ain't got no money for you to sue me, so I'm going to leave it alone. But basically, what I find is that, what I usually tell young people is that I was always taught just through tradition from where my family's from that you can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. You don't have to sleep up to the top. That's part of the manipulation.
Right.
You know, one girl that I know for sure, she wrote a book. Because she was one of those video princesses in the videos with rappers.
The video vixen.
Yeah, I read her book.
Okay.
And basically that's what she did. You know, and it's sad, but she got out of it. But the point is that it was experience that she was a pretty girl. They saw her, they gave her money, you know, and then she realized that this is not what I really want to do. I don't want to be a sex slave. I call it a sex slave. Because anytime a female gives herself up for stardom or anything, or job, career, you're a sex slave.
Okay.
I don't like using the word calling a girl hoe. Hoe is an old word. It's all in the biblical sense. Prostitution been around before our time. You know, and it ain't going nowhere. It's a choice that you choose to be.
Right.
You know, but my problem that I have with this young generation is that they're really lost, Erica. They're totally lost. And, you know, it was like a wake-up for me, another wake-up for me because I'm still raising a child as old as I am, and I'm seeing what these kids are doing out there.
Right.
I said, wait a minute. I mean, we did things in our time, but the things these kids are doing is off the chain.
Tell me about it. I can relate.
You know, and this is seriously, and my show. What made me do this show? Start the show in the first place?
What's the name of the show?
The name of my show is called Butterscotch Angie Live. I'm on CTV, which is your local cable channel. You can find me on channel 34 on Verizon and Spectrum. I come on every Monday. My show date is every Monday at 5 o'clock p.m. I also come on the weekend. Every weekend. There's different time slots for the weekend. So you have to keep tuning in. But if you're in another borough, outside of Brooklyn and Staten Island, you have to get in contact with your local cable channel. See how you can get the local access channel to Verizon and Spectrum.
You hear that, little bird?
Right.
That's what you need to do.
That's how you do it.
But I want to know more about your show, Butterscotch
Yes.
Because I love the name.
Thank you.
That sounds like a
Don't tell me, you're going to ask me, where did that come from? Well,
Yeah.
well, Butterscotch was a name that I inherited during my lifespan.
Okay.
All right, and Angie is my name. My real name is Angela, but my mother and family always called me Angie. My mother only called me Angela when she got mad at me. You know, when she gets stirred, when she calls me Angela. But everybody in my family calls me Angie. How I came about with this show was because I wanted to bring community awareness to the forefront. And it was mainly to focus on youth. Because within my career, I wanted to counsel, you know, I had a KSAC degree to counsel for youth and adults that had substance abuse issues. But I did not want to work with adults. I wanted to give back to the youth because the youth are the ones that are our future. All right?
Yeah.
No offense to the adults that have their addiction problems, but I've seen it where they just not trying to get better.
Right.
They go into these programs, and then in the winter time, they fill up the residential programs, and I did not have time to do that type of work with a little girl at home, and I needed to make sure my daughter got home from school, and I was able to be home to get my daughter and all that stuff, responsible as a mother. So I turned down a lot of positions with that because I wanted to work with youth. So then, as time went on, because we moved to Staten Island, you know, we don't have any family in Staten Island. You know, my daughter, because my daughters grew up in the Hamptons. So it's a totally different school, you know, district and everything compared to going to public schools in the boroughs. And my daughter was like, the first day she went to school, my little Raven, when she was in the 3rd grade, she was going to 3rd grade, she was bullied from the first day because she didn't talk like the other kids. They knew she was different. And instead of accepting her, they picked on her because she talked proper compared to how they talk. Because Raven didn't grow up in what they call the hood. She spoke proper English. So that was a turmoil. She used to cry. She used to give her things to kids and thinking they're gonna like her. They used to take her stuff from her. Oh, there was all kinds of bullies, and it happened in elementary school. But anyway, I said, well, I gotta be a stay-home mom because I'm not having this. So then I said, let me get more involved in this community that I'm living in. Because I've always been a person that study, and I'm very observant, and I like to see what's around me. You know, if I'm living here, I gotta know what's around me, even though I'm living here, you know what I mean? And I started getting involved with the Board of Ed and PTA for parents and stuff like that. And we would go have meetings, and you know, I bring my stuff to the forefront for the people. And you notice that people didn't come. Only the people from the neighborhood came in their pajamas, parents, just to come and eat. But it wasn't interested in what we're trying to do to better these schools for our children. So that's the forefront of that made me determined. Somebody brought it to my attention. Butterscotch, you need to come to CTV and get a show. So I went on a couple people's show, and I was like, you know what? I always liked journalism. I did an internship for radio when I was in college. And then I was supposed to do my internship for Channel 5 News. And you know, me, like a ding, ding, ding. I said, I'm not going to give up my summer. I'm not going to work for free. And every time I think about it, I said, man, I probably would have been a Wendy Williams. I would have had my own show. So, you know, when I had that opportunity to get back into what I love, I said, hey, I'm going to do this. And I just been, you know, I've been happy ever since, you know, because as long as I see that people's watching it, I've been getting a lot of feedback. I've done so far 3 teen summits. And I've only been, this is my 2nd year with CTV.
I like how you brought up Teen Summit. I know that's something outside of your TV show you do. Talk about that because maybe a parent will want to get involved. Or,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I'm looking for parents, students that are interested in bringing something to the forefront for the teens. You know, I want to create a forum. Like I want to do like game shows. You know, I want to do like a game show. And that's certainly what my next project is going to be. The kids don't know it yet.
Okay.
And I give out incentives to the kids. I give them certificates, you know, and we do it all on CTV for about 4 hours in the studio. My last show I did was for Black History Month. I had a variety of kids. I had more kids than I could ask for. And it was sensational. I had performing arts on. I had people who performed, sing, dance, fabulous. So everybody's like, Butterscotch, when are you going to do the next Teen Summit? I said, that's what I like to hear. You know, especially when a teenager comes up to you and says, Butterscotch, when are you going to do your next Teen Summit? I'm down. I want to be on. I said, of course, I got you in mind. Don't worry about it. Give me a minute, you know, because it's a lot of work. Because I am an independent producer for CTV and director of my own show. And I have people that are independent that also work with me as staff, you know, so we pull together and they help me out and I help them out, you know. And we go where we want to go with our show, you know. And I've had people on my show that's in the film business, in the films.
Okay.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I've had
that
people.
helps a lot because
Yeah.
the kids can learn and mentor and
Exactly.
they can get their name out there before they even hit college. That's pretty dope.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I have people on my show that are artists, you know. I've been to several events looking at artists that I've been invited to, you know, and you know, I picked out the ones I thought was good. Give me my card, give me a call, you know, and everything like that. And also, what else? I have 3 segments to my show. I have a show that I call the Butterscotch Angie and co-host. I have a co-host friend of mine. We do this show called The View.
Okay. And
Yeah.
The View. People are going to think it's The View, but isn't it different from The View ABC?
Oh, of course.
So how is your view different from this?
Oh, our view is Butterscotch view. See, we have this thing where we present a subject, and then she don't agree with something I say, and I be giving it back to her how I feel about it.
Oh, okay, so it's like kind of like you know, like the things they do for the for
Debate.
and stuff.
Like a debate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not, we don't call it a debate, but you know, we talk about different things, but most of the time, me and my co-host, we be going at it about what she says she liked this. Like the last segment we did was back to school. We did 3 segments. One segment was on fashion. So we had a bunch of fashions up, and we said, which do you think that's appropriate for school? Look at how these kids are dressing. This is the new fashion for fall. Would you let your child wear that? And she might say, well, nah. And then, you know, we had a controversy about one outfit, a couple outfits the guys were wearing and stuff. But it was really good. It was really good. It was about back to school for the kids. And also looking in the camera and telling the parents, listen, beware what your kids are wearing to school.
Yeah.
You know, how do you expect them to learn anything if all you see is open breast lines, tummy out, booty up the booty, and all that stuff, and the boys are in the classroom just looking at all of that, and nobody's doing no work.
And it's crazy because like now these teenagers don't even look like teenagers.
There you go.
They look like college kids because like I was walking and I see like this guy and he looks like a normal, like my age, 27, and he's 15 years old. I see him going to the school and I'm like, yeah, they don't look like little kids anymore. Like when I was a little kid, I had the pigtails, the glasses, glasses, the book bag.
We talked about, and I still agree with this. I think that, see, the thing with New York City, New York State, they passed a law for public schools that they had to wear uniforms.
Yeah.
But then they didn't follow through with it.
No.
They said, well, it's not mandatory, but your kids can wear uniforms. Some schools do well. They can wear uniform 3 days a week, and 3 days a week, and then the rest of the day can wear regular clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Then some schools just said, let it go. No, just don't care if the kids wear uniforms or not. So they haven't enforced it. Because one thing for sure, when these kids are all wearing the same colors, it cuts down a lot of the chaos these kids are doing in school.
Right. Right.
It definitely makes it because they, you know what, y'all all got the same colors on, so what's the problem now?
Right. But also, do you think that, because kids do have cell phones and stuff, they are
Yeah, you
watching,
brought about cell phones too.
they're watching what Cardi B and Nicki Minaj do and like the fights and stuff and how they're dressing. And I want to be like Cardi. I want to be like Nicki. I want to be like these people. I want to be like Beyonce. And I'm like, you know, it's like it's a different era from when you and I was growing up. Like I grew up in the 90s and it was like, chill, like, you know, you
well, the 90s was getting, the 90s was just ready to go into the overflow.
Yeah.
You know, I take it back, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I was worried about Barbie dolls, and at 15, I was worried about B2K and
Right.
concerts.
And see, when I was y'all age, you know, we were into comic books.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we was into collecting those comic books. You know, and when I get a chance and I go out to the Hamptons, I gotta go in the garage and find my comics because they're worth a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll figure that out one day. It's just a lot of stuff that I have to do. But yeah, these are all the subjects that I always touch on about our kids, about being in the community, about the neighborhoods, you know, about the different programs that they call putting in low, I'll say low income neighborhoods, because I don't like to use the word, people say project and you know, the ghetto, you know, and I try to stay away from those words because you know what, we're already stigmatized by them, you know, and it's not fair because I don't care where you live, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. But some people are still into the Middle East, you know, they still stereotype. And just like we have people that come over here in this country, they hear all these things about Black Americans that they think they were really that way. Until some of us take the time to get to know us. And those who don't, oh well, they just go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to ask you about inspiration. Now, who inspired you to be a radio host? Like me, it was Egypt Sheridan.
You really want to know?
Yeah.
You're not going to believe this because I met her in person through my dad.
Who?
Barbara Walters.
Really? That's
When
nice.
I was a little girl. I met Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor, Susan Lucci. Oh.
Through my job, I met Gail King.
You met Gail King? I would love to meet her.
Yeah, I met her. I met different people.
Yeah.
I work for CBS, by the way.
Yes.
Outside of Flavor Talk, but
There you go.
I'm in an area where I'm meeting people. Like I met different people, and you know, I've seen different people, and just being in that area has just inspired me. Just being working at CBS, a Black woman
Yes,
at CBS.
yes.
And,
That's a plus.
Yeah.
That's a plus, Erica.
Also.
But wait a minute, when you asked me that, when you asked me about who inspired me, the first person who did was Barbara Walters. You know, my father knew her, and when she met me, and you know, I always liked to write and stuff. I wrote a lot of stuff. I have a lot of poetry in my stuff. I used to write poetry myself. And everything, and I still have all that stuff in the trunk. I just haven't taken none of that out yet because I have another person who's a film producer, and she's wrote several books, and she's related to George Clinton. She's the niece to George Clinton.
Wow.
Right now. I'm be working on with her a film called Hits. Hits is going to be a series. It's about trafficking, human trafficking.
Okay.
But it's not about what you think, because you know you've seen films over and over about human trafficking, all about sex. No, this is about the whole thing, honey. This is about body parts.
Wow.
Because that's a big business now. When you don't see those kids out there, they never find them. Pray for them, because someone already got that child, probably took their organs out the country or enslaved them or whatever. But this is real.
Yeah.
It's happening in your own backyard. So this young lady has done her homework, and she's writing. She wrote this book, wrote this series. She's trying to get it. Might be on Netflix, you know, and still in the negotiation. But they're doing their thing. They're filming now pilots of the show, of the series, and I'm playing in it. I will be the mother to 2 of the sons that's involved in this. I'm very excited about it. They also been on my show, the actors and stuff, and they've been in other movies too. A lot of these young people like yourself, they're into filming. And I said I was just blown away when I went to the Newark International Festival for the 2nd year. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
All this talent from all over. And they're young, and they have young high school kids making films.
Wow.
And videos and stuff like that. That's why this is so important to me, because it's part of me giving back. You know, me being a black woman, I didn't grow up like a lot of my friends that were, I was considered, I don't like using the word poor, I like to say had less than me.
Less fortunate.
Less fortunate than me.
Right.
But I felt the pain of me working in the corporate world, in banking. I felt the crunch of me working for the city, bureaucratic system. You know, where people just, you know, they like what you're doing, but they don't want to give you credit where you're due. A lot of times. And to make that long story short, Erica, it's like, it's the same thing, you know, you have to try to explain to the youth, because they don't, a lot of them don't really see that they have a future.
Right.
And we want to encourage them. And why have people like yourself and young women and men that come on my show? I always ask them, what do you have to say to the youth out there,
Right.
to help them understand why it's so important for them to get their education, you know, and that they can do what you're doing. They can do what I'm trying to do. They can do anything they want to do, you know, because it's a little fact that in the what they call the low-income communities, there's so much talent out there that's being wasted because they don't have the time. Nobody has the time. Sit down and deal with these kids. They create programs that are not working, but they're not color-oriented programs. There's somebody, a Jew man, who runs it in our community, and they don't have nothing in there that's really helping our children. And then you have those who try to open up organizations who has failed. And you know why? Because they got greedy in the pocket. They forgot you was doing this to help your community, help the children in the neighborhood.
Right.
Now you got greedy with the money, and now there's no more community programs.
Yeah. Yeah.
This I had to say it because I'm real is real. Anybody know, but it's not true. I'm real.
You keep it real here at Cafe.
And then I have my view. She said, my co-host goes, oh, she puts on her shades. She said, oh no, but let's not throw some shade right now. That's right, I'm gonna give it to her.
What is your co-host name, by the way?
Her name is Keisha Williams.
I do want to talk about inspiration again.
Yes.
Just to piggyback on what you said. How is this, all of this, because you seem like a phenomenal woman.
Thank you.
How is this inspiring your daughters? Have they come up to you and said, Mom, I'm so proud of you, or Mom, I'm inspired you to do this or that?
Let me tell you something. My oldest daughter, she's gonna turn 25 on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
And she's not really shy, but Taylor is like off to herself. Like she's always been a A student and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear from her, you know, now that she's on her own, you know, I think I made her what she is in terms of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's very responsible, she's independent,
Mm-hmm.
and I just love it. As long as she's doing her thing and I know she's okay, I'm happy.
What is your daughter doing?
Well, she's into computers and webs.
Okay.
You know, she works in the lower part of Manhattan.
Okay.
She lives in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, she lives in Brooklyn, and I'm really proud of her. You know, I think that my kids, they love me and they admire me because, like, my oldest daughter used to say, "Mom," she used to be so shy. I said, "Mom, I can't talk like you. You get up there and I said, "Babe, tell me you can do anything you wanted to." I never forget the time when my daughter was graduating from high school. I said there was a scholarship, and I said, "Tell me, write that paper. You can do it. You can do it."
Right.
And guess what? She won the scholarship.
That's good.
She won the scholarship. I said, "I told you." You know, you have to believe in yourself, you know, and, you know, people always want to try to make you feel like you can't do this, you can't do that. And only why they tell you that because they know you can. See, and I use that as a key method to everything I do. When somebody challenges me, I like a challenge. See, I like people to challenge me because that's how I was in banking.
Right.
Banking, me doing those numbers was a challenge.
It's
for
very
me.
competitive.
Very competitive for me. So my life has always been competitive in terms of, if I want to do it, oh yeah, I can't do that? And then you're like, my mind was going right in on that what you said I could not do.
That's funny you said that because, like, I value my parents, both of them, my father and my mother, because I took from both of them. Like, my dad, he showed me the competitive side of things, and my mom showed me the loving side of things.
Yes.
They show me different things. But I love what my dad said to me, which stood by me when I was like graduating college. He said, "The world is your oyster. Use it." And I love that because everywhere I go, I gotta think of what Dad said. And it's like, you know, I work hard, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do now because I'm grateful for both parents because I learned from both of them. So.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that because that's the same way with me. I grew up in the business with my dad and my mom, us growing up from little. You know, and my father had his own business. He owned property, houses, and stuff like that. He wanted me to be into real estate so bad, but that wasn't my passion. He wanted now he's trying to talk my daughter Taylor that she should get a real estate license. You know, and he said, "Taylor, you should do it. You should really do it, you know." And I said, it's the same way Dad's doing the same thing he used to do to me, you know. But I did try a little real estate, you know, but I lost out. I bought a 3-family house in Jersey, and I had my own business. I started my own business. That's a long flight. That's another story when we talk about a business side of this whole thing. I can give y'all some pointers.
Okay.
Do's and don'ts. But one thing I can say to you is that my father always says, there's nobody your friend but your pocketbook. My father used to use that word all the time.
I like that.
He said, your pocketbook is your friend.